This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
I'm in chains. I'm in chains. Time, always saying she's such a sucker with the cold, flamed eyes, highs of night. Always saying she's such a sucker.
Is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. I think we have acknowledged this for quite some time. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Wednesday, which makes it Whip 'em Out Wednesday, June the 10th. Of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big.
Oh yes, good old Radio Big, doing the stuff that they get to do over there, no doubt about that. So anyways, how have you been? How has the last 24 hours or so been for you? Has life been treating you grand? And that always becomes part of the questionnaire of the things that are going on. Yeah, you know, when you go away for a period of time, and then you come back, it's like you're playing catch up for all the stuff that you didn't do. Well, that's what I've been doing so far this week, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, wow, a lot of stuff to catch up on. I didn't really think that I was gone for that long, but apparently it was longer than what I expected. So let's go through this real quick. If you're new here, let's explain what we do. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back, by the way. So what we'll do is we'll sprinkle in some news stories. We'll sprinkle in some safety stories. We'll give you a level of a main story in the middle. And then we bring in some professional broadcasters that are talking throughout, letting us know exactly what's going on. So it makes it an interesting time. That way you get to hear it from all kinds of different people of what exactly is going on. So just a little FYI there. Outside of that, let's talk about this real quick. If you want to interact with the show, it's simple to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com in regards of getting everything set up. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging will be the options of what exactly goes on inside of there, and then we just kind of go from there. It gives me a little prompt on the screen. I get to see exactly what you're telling me, and then boom, we go. We keep on rolling. We change the stories as need be. So that's kind of how we do the whole kit and caboodle. So if you're good with that, I'm definitely good with it as well. So that way we can get everything moving. Now, here's the other thing. I've had some people reach out because as of earlier in this week, if you're on the Apple podcast side, if you're watching the show or listening to the show is really what I should say, now you can flip on the video. And I know we talked about it earlier in the week, but I had a few people reach out in regards of, hey, it looks great on there. Well, it's the visual radio stuff that we've been doing for quite some time. If you go to safetyfm.com and click on where it says visual radio. So just a little FYI there. So, with that being said, I do have my friends from Feature Story News ready to go. They're willing to talk about what exactly is going on. So, if you're good with it, I'm good with it. We can get into the news stories right now and see exactly what is going on. So, we can do it in that fashion. So, let's do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Laura Westbrook. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has become the country's longest continuously serving elected Prime Minister, surpassing the record previously held by India's founding leader. Modi crossed the 4,399-day mark in office on Wednesday. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who first took oath on May 26, 2014, has now served 3 consecutive terms, matching Nehru in leading his party to victory in 3 straight general elections. Nehru's record of 4,398 days was set across India's earliest days as an independent nation. India's federal ruling BJP is now marking the occasion as a testament to what it calls a decade of transformative governance under PM Modi. But critics argue that India's record on minorities' rights has suffered during this term and the country has slipped in press freedom rankings. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
The US military says it has completed strikes against Iran in what it says was in retaliation to the downing of an Army Apache helicopter. In response, Iran says it launched strikes towards US bases in the region. Mitch McCann reports.
Well, shortly after 5 o'clock local time on Tuesday, US Central Command announced on social media that CENTCOM forces had begun launching self-defense strikes against Iran as of 5 o'clock Eastern Time at Donald Trump's direction. It went on to say on social media this was in response to yesterday's downing of an Apache helicopter and describes the mission as a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. And while this happened at 5 o'clock local time on the east coast of the US, it wasn't a total surprise because Donald Trump had posted about it earlier in the day. He said the incident concerning the 2 pilots inside the Apache helicopter meant that the United States must of necessity respond to the attack. Now, the pilots were uninjured, but Donald Trump has vowed to respond.
Hundreds of Iraqi Kurdish migrants trying to reach the UK were tortured and threatened with organ removal last year, according to British media. Hostages who made it out told the BBC they were captured by a Libyan militia, which blackmailed their families into paying $5,000 under threat of having a kidney removed. Stuart Smith reports.
The BBC investigation found that during the summer of 2025, migrants travelling from Iraqi Kurdistan to the UK via Libya in northern Africa were intercepted by a militia. It was making money by kidnapping and imprisoning migrants and blackmailing them in a largely lawless country. If they didn't pay, they would be denied food and were threatened with kidney removal. 110 people were repatriated from Libya earlier this year by the Iraqi government, but not before some did appear to have had their organs taken, with a number of those who made it back home showing journalists scars on their lower backs. Stuart Smith, London.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium. It is in many ways at the heart of stalled efforts to forge a ceasefire extension with the US and even a longer-term peace agreement. President Trump refers to it as nuclear dust because, he says, Iran's nuclear capacity was obliterated in Operation Midnight Hammer last year. But David Patrikarakos, special correspondent for the Daily Mail and the author of Nuclear Iran, The Birth of an Atomic State, says it is far from clear that, in fact, Iran's stockpile really was reduced to dust.
To be fair to them, they went out and they degraded the nuclear facilities. They were never specifically trying to degrade the dust, as Trump calls it. Look, we don't know is the answer, and this is the big unknown, and this is why it's so worrying. In terms of what it means, that dust is leverage. This is a country that has been sanctioned to the hilt, a country that is internationally isolated. It has very few points of leverage. One of them we know now is the Straits of Hormuz. The other is this nuclear dust. The Iranians are smart, and if you look at what they did with their nuclear program, they will use it to extract as much concessions from the Americans as they can, and that means sanctions relief, and that means trying to get their oil flowing properly.
And if the US or Israel or the United Nations wants to recover Iran's stockpile, it will need a mechanism for doing that, which is another big unresolved question as the conflict continues. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. The US says it has completed strikes against Iran in retaliation to the downing of an American helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz. In response, Iran says it launched strikes towards US targets in the region. Bahrain, Jordan, and Kuwait say they have intercepted missiles and drones. Properties and vehicles are set alight in Belfast after a man is charged with attempted murder following a knife attack. And that's the latest feature story news. Laura Westbrook reporting.
Don't go anywhere. The best stuff is still ahead. Or at least the stuff we haven't messed up yet.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so there you go. Let's start talking right away about some of the things that are going on inside of the multiverse of ours as we are 14 minutes past the top of the hour. Yep, 14 minutes past the top of the hour. Did not realize that you could see the top of that cup there. That's even more hilarious. Okay, so let's start talking because there's a lot of things that are going on inside of the multiverse. There, no doubt about that. So, if you were watching the news yesterday, you might have heard of this one. This was going on for sure. Texas jury took about 3.5 hours to convict 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony of first-degree murder for fatally stabbing a 17-year-old Austin Metcalf during a dispute of high school track meet in 2025. Anthony broke down in tears when the verdict was read, and his mother later pleaded with jurors for mercy, calling him my baby and saying that he was sorry for what he did. The case stemmed from an argument over seating under the team's tent. Witness testified that Anthony refused repeated requests to move, warned Metcalf, touch me and find out, and then stabbed him in the chest after Metcalf shoved him. The wound pierced Metcalf's heart, and he died despite the efforts by coaches and medics to save him. Outside the courthouse, supporters of the critics of Anthony clashed. Some supporters claimed that the trial was racially biased because of no black jurors served on the panel, while others argued that the verdict reflected the evidence presented. The trial now moves to the sentencing phase. Jurors must decide if Anthony's punishment and whether the stabbing was committed under sudden passion, a finding that could dramatically reduce his prison sentence. Prosecutors argued that the case is about accountability for taking a life, while a defense attorney maintained Anthony acted in a moment of fear and without time for calm reflection. The jury rejected both Anthony's self-defense claim and the possibility of a lesser manslaughter conviction, finding him guilty with most of the serious charges available. So there you go. What do you think here? It's definitely going to be interesting to hear about how this is going to be sentenced, because a lot of people this is going to be something that people will be talking about for some time. But let's take a look at the other side here, the loss of life that occurred because of a seating arrangement under a tent, which makes it even more interesting as we are talking. So there you go. Let's continue talking about some other stuff that's going on inside of the world, too. President Trump announced that the U.S. would respond after Iran allegedly shot down an American Apache helicopter patrolling near the Strait. The helicopter crashed off of the coast of Oman, but both crew members were rescued and suffered only minor injuries. U.S. officials said that the aircraft was brought down by an Iranian drone. Although the questions remain about whether it was deliberately targeted, Trump said that the attack crossed the line and declared that the United States must respond. Shortly afterwards, the U.S. forces launched strikes against Iranian targets, further escalating tension in the region. The incident comes as Washington and Tehran had reportedly been close to a peace agreement. Trump had recently expressed optimism that the deal could be reached within days, with key issues including Iranian nuclear program, enriched uranium stockpile, and the reopening of the Strait, a vital shipping lane that handles roughly about 1/5 of the world's oil supply. The shutdown of the U.S. Retaliation now threatens a negotiation and raised the possibility of further military action by both sides. Iran has now formally claimed responsibility for the attack, but the Iranian officials have warned the U.S. that any new U.S. strikes could trigger retaliation. So there you go. I don't understand this because it just seems like it's one of these things that we continue to get deeper and deeper in regards that we're not getting out anytime soon. So I don't know. It's one of those it's one of those political talk things that it seems like as that people like to discuss. I just hate talking politics, period. But it just seems like it's going to be something that we're going to continue to talk about. That is for sure.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's continue talking about some other stuff here. This was making the rounds yesterday. I don't know why we're reporting it, but let's talk about it anyways. Pat McAfee may be headed for a massive payday. According to reports, ESPN is already negotiating a contract extension with the former NFL punter that could more than double his current earnings and pay him over $60 million a year. McAfee bought the Pat McAfee Show to ESPN in 2023 and becomes one of the network's biggest stars thanks to his daily 3-hour show, appearances on College Game Day, and other programming. ESPN executives have credited him to helping attract younger viewers, particularly 18 to 24 demographic. The reported talks, despite McAfee still having 2 years left on his current deal, which is believed to be worth nearly $30 million annually. His representatives reportedly sought a contract with the same neighborhood of the record-setting extension signed by Stephen A. Smith, away from television. McAfee recently shared personal news about the birth of his son, Midas. The baby arrived 4 weeks early after McAfee's wife, Samantha, underwent emergency C-section due to severe complications. Midas spent about 36 hours in intensive care before being released, and McAfee said that the family has been celebrating ever since. So there you go. Well, congratulations to him. I don't know why this should be newsworthy about how much somebody's making. That's kind of a weird thing.
Duh.
But I guess those are the things that happen nowadays. Let's continue talking. So let's get into some of the
safety stuff.
Health officials have confirmed that there is a flesh-eating New World screwworm parasite that has now been spread beyond Texas into New Mexico, making it the 5th known U.S. case this year. The latest case was found in a dog in Lea County, New Mexico, near the Texas border. The parasite flies, lays eggs in the open wound, and then the larvae hatch within hours, burrowing into the living tissue and feeding on its flesh. Untreated infestations can cause severe infection, deep wounds, and even death. So far, the U.S. cases have only involved animals, including dogs and calves. But the problem is much larger farther south. More than 2,100 humans infections have been reported in Mexico and Central America this year. The federal and state officials are investigating and trying to contain the spread. The CDC advises the people in the affected areas to keep the wounds clean and covered, wear protective clothing, use insect repellent, and watch symptoms such as painful, non-healing sores, foul odors, bleeding wounds, or visible maggots. The discovery is in New Mexico has heightened concerns about the parasite is continuing northward, better saying, movement in Mexico into the United States. So what do you think? That's what we need next.
A parasite outbreak.
So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure. Okay, so take a listen to this. NASA's next Artemis crew has been revealed. The NASA has unveiled the 4 astronauts who will make up the crew of the mission Artemis moon program. The team includes Randy Bresnik, Frank Rubio, Andre Douglas, and Luca Partinano. Despite the mission's name, Artemis 3 will not actually land on the moon. Instead, the astronauts will orbit the Earth and practice docking their Orion spacecraft, with lunar landing being developed by SpaceX and Blue Origin. The mission is currently targeted for 2027 and is considered a key stepping stone towards NASA's goal of returning humans to the moon for the first time since the Apollo era. Following the recently overhaul of the Artemis program, NASA hopes to accelerate its timeline and carry out the crewed lunar landing in 2028. The announcement comes on the heels of the Artemis 2, a successful trip around the moon, which set the distance record beyond the achievement of the Apollo missions. So what do you think? Pretty interesting stuff is what it sounds like to me. I love anything related to technology that could work in that particular fashion. That is for sure. Okay, take a listen to this one. So this one, oddly enough, is not coming out of Florida. It's actually coming out of Louisiana. Louisiana man is accused of drunk driving. Learned the hard way of running from police can make a bad day even worse. Authorities say that the 40-year-old Victor Rivas fled the traffic stop, jumped off of the interstate overpass, and ran into a swamp to escape. And then he reportedly encountered an alligator, which bit his arm during the struggle. Despite the gator attack, Rivas kept running until deputies used a drone to track him down and arrest him as he emerged from the swamp. He was treated for non-life-threatening injuries and charged with impaired driving and resisting arrest. So you're telling me he went from a DUI to a DIY alligator dentistry? And then he escaped. The plan was one small flaw. It was in Louisiana. I mean, it wasn't going to happen there. The gator said, "Sir, I'm going to need you to stop resisting." And then he discovered that the swamp has its own neighborhood watch. So there you go. What an interesting time. Here's an idea. If you get pulled over, don't start running. Probably not the best idea. They're going to outnumber you for the most part, is what it sounds like. So there you go. Take a listen to this one real quick, because this one's kind of been interesting as we are talking. An adaptive athlete and social media creator, Kathleen Thomas, known for online as Katie, received a sweet surprise from her local Dairy Queen after a traffic stop involving her missing right hand went viral. Katie was cited by a Florida deputy for allegedly holding and using her cell phone in her right hand while driving. Despite being born without the right hand, body cam footage showed that the officers insisting that he saw her manipulating a phone and even asking her to swear that hand to God that she wasn't prompting widespread attention online. The citation, which carried a $116 fine, was later dismissed due to the insufficient evidence. After the story went viral, Dairy Queen Green Acres sent Katie a custom cake decorated with a cell phone, a limb, and a phrase that said, "Hand to God." As a humorous nod of the encounter, Katie shared the gift on social media, calling it the best cake ever. She says that the viral moment has helped her raise awareness about limb differences and has inspired fundraising efforts to Shriners Children's through merchandise featuring now famous phrase. What started as an unusual traffic stop has turned into a positive opportunity for disability awareness and community support and charitable giving. So there you go. So she just didn't beat the ticket; she beat every single-handedly. Somewhere that citation is hanging in a police training room, and the body cam footage should have been titled "The Plot Twist Arrives in 3, 2, 1." So there you go. And Dairy Queen turned a traffic stop into a dessert special. So hey, whatever works, I guess, is what goes on there. That's for sure. Let me give you a few more here before we get into our main story. A gorilla at a Japanese zoo has gone viral after appearing to have very human reaction following the confrontation with a female gorilla. The video shows a 13-year-old gorilla sitting alone with what viewers jokingly described as a 1,000-yard stare after reportedly being chased by a female member of his troop. While the chase itself wasn't the main attraction, seemingly the gorilla reflecting the mood afterwards captured the internet's attention. The article humorously imagines the gorilla replaying the argument in his head, comparing his expressions to some of the regretting a bad decision or trying to figure out how to make the peace after a disagreement. The writer also joked that the footage proves that the world needs a reality TV show about gorillas, suggesting that viewers would happily tune in to watch the drama for at least a few episodes, as one would assume. So there you go. Some things to think about. Take a listen to this one. A California couple sprang into action when they saw a black bear attacking one of their dogs outside of their home near Mammoth Lakes. When a second dog joined the fight, both homeowners rushed in to protect their pets and were clawed and bitten by the bear. During the struggle, the woman fought back with a water bottle while grabbed the hatchet and hit the bear with the handle. Yeah, sure, it was the handle. And this effort eventually stopped the attack, leaving the bear unable to continue. The couple then drove themselves to the hospital where they were treated for injuries. Both are expected to recover as the dog's wildlife officers later euthanized several injured bears, citing public safety concerns. So there you go. There you go. What else do we got? Now let's just do this one. Let's talk about this one. So you are aware that the Worldwide Developers Conference by Apple occurred earlier this week, just in case if you did not know this. But there's some changes coming to their iOS, so their operating system for their device, But take a listen to this. Apple's new watchOS update will leave several popular Apple Watch models behind. That AI-focused software introduced new features like an upgraded Siri gestures control, an AI workout coach, a menopause support tools, but it requires newer hardware to run. The watches losing support are the Apple Watch SE, which is second generation, Apple Watch 6, Apple Watch 7, Apple Watch 8, and the original Apple Watch Ultra. Some of those models were released as recent as 2022. Owners of the unsupported watches still will be able to use them, but they won't receive the latest features and may eventually lose compatibility with some of the apps. The moves have sparked frustration among users, especially owners of the first generation Apple Watch Ultra, which was marketed as a premium device and is less than 4 years old. So how long is a premium device considered a premium device? Maybe that's the other question to start considering. Because that's what you might have to give some consideration to as we are talking. So how do you feel about this? I'm just asking because people get so upset about those most random things. I mean, I don't think that anything that I buy technology-wise is going to last forever in regards of tech. So yes, if you do have a 2022 model, I can understand that, not the greatest thing, but you have to look at it from the standpoint too of, okay, this becomes very interesting on how this technology changes. I remember when phones used to be obsolete after 1 year, it was almost how it worked. I'm just telling you. So there you go. So let me do one more before we get into our main story. A major new review of 56 studies suggests that even moderate alcohol consumption may be riskier than many people think. Researchers say that adults should limit themselves to no more than one alcoholic drink per day, regardless of sex, because the risk of alcohol-related death rises significantly as consumption increases. The study found that drinking more than 7 drinks a week pushes the lifetime risk of alcohol-related death by above 1 in 1,000. At around 2 drinks per day, the risk climbs roughly 1 in 25. Researchers linked alcohol to higher rates of cancer, liver disease, and injuries, arguing that the heart health benefits from light drinking are largely canceled out by the occasional heavier drinkers. The research, originally commissioned by the federal government in 2023, was not incorporated into the U.S. dietary guidelines. Some researchers claim their findings were sidelined due to political and industry pressures, while federal health officials say the recommendations are based on full-body scientific evidence, not any single study. One conclusion, and many experts agree that on the long-standing belief that having a daily alcoholic drink is good for your health, increasingly being challenged by a newer research. So there you go. That's some stuff to think about. You'll be like, so should I do alcohol or should I not do alcohol? I mean, I guess it's entirely up to you on how you want to do it. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's do it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So it is main story time here on the Rated R Safety Show. On episode, what is this, 1,366. Yeah, can you believe that? But today, we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to go a little bit back in time for just a few moments here, because I think that this is going to be important. Now, I will tell you, I do like technology, and I think we've had this discussion on more than one occasion on this show. And when I say I like technology, maybe I should probably change that and really say I love technology. If there's new tech that's out there that I find interesting, I will take these giant dives into either getting a hold of it, looking into what's going on, all the fun stuff. Now, with that being said, I want to say the following thing, because I think that this is going to be important. I also find some technology extremely weird. I find it interesting on some of the things that we will allow technology to do. I don't know if you remember this, but years and years ago, I think it was the iPhone 6. You had the option of buying that phone with a camera or without a camera. Yeah, at one point, phones did not really have cameras per se. But there was an option that you could buy it with or without a camera. Now, think about that for a moment now. If this was something that was available nowadays, people would be like, that's crazy. Why would you want to buy a phone without a camera? I get it. I understand it. Makes sense to me. But sometimes we have to kind of throw it back. We have to take a look around on how things used to work. And I'm not saying that things in the past were perfect. So let's make sure that we don't go down that rabbit hole. But I also want to make a quick reference, if I may, that at certain times too, some of the things that we used to do in the past might still make sense now, even though you might say, well, hold on, why you're saying this? I want you to think about this for a moment. Right now, if you were to send a survey to the people that you work with and ask them, what is the thing that is impacting them the most inside of the workplace when it's related to safety? Do you think the majority of the people would fill out the survey? Think about that for a moment. And the reason that I'm mentioning this is that people are paranoid now, and I mean that in the best way possible, that if you send them a survey, that you will be able to track their IP address. And I get that concern. That concern makes sense to me. But think about this. I don't know if you remember back in the good old days where we would used to have these boxes. And these boxes normally had these cards you could put into them that you could reference if you had an issue. You could reference if there was a problem and put it on this card. And then all of a sudden, boom, give them the information on what needed to change. Now, don't get me wrong. Back then, even people thought, well, maybe people could recognize my handwriting. Now, that's really some high level of confidence, or you really have shitty handwriting, that somebody would be able to notice what it is right away. But if you look at this for just a brief moment in time, and you think about this, didn't that format work? People were willing to use it. I think people are a little bit more paranoid nowadays because of the IP address. And yeah, I know you can put a virtual private network on it, or VPN, as one may say, to hide where you're doing it from. But still, some people will be worried about how you receive the info. Because if they send it to you via email and you replied back, boom, or if it took you to a general survey aspect, I get it. But think about this for a moment. And don't get me wrong, the other aspect is doing learning teams where people can write some stuff on a chart and then you bring it back to the team and say, hey, okay, boom, this is what we need to change. And when I say team, I'm talking about like kind of up the ladder there. So what do you think? Do you think this would be something that would work nowadays? I'm just asking because I think that worked. What do you think? Because here's the thing. Technology is a benefit, but sometimes it's a hindrance too. But people don't look at it that way. So, I don't know. If you were going to try to get your team to be involved with what is going on, to be involved, to telling you here are our biggest issues that are going on within our little section, is this something that you would bring back? Would you use the box? Would you say, hey, this is something that we should consider? Because if you sent a survey right now, what do you think your response rate would be? Now, keep in mind that market average says that if you have people respond to 10% of anything, you're doing good, which I don't know if that's true, but it's definitely something to think about. So if you were talking to someone today and you were giving them information about what would need to change, and what would need to happen? Would you be willing to throw it back old school, opposed to just being, hey, no, we can only go with the technology from today? I know if you're dealing with a worldwide industry, it might be a little bit difficult to do, but if you're doing it from the standpoint where you're hanging out and you're interacting with people inside of the same place, it might be a lot easier than what you think. Just think about that for just a brief moment. It might take you places.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
They're good. They're very funny.
They're hilarious. They just be whoever they want to be.
It's just really funny. Rated R Safety Show.
Stars are fighting all the same. She's such a sucker, but she lights the dark work of her and all the same. She's such a sucker. I'm in chains, got my plane, but there's just no way to land. I'm all in, called your bluff, but then the Sam's killer hand.
Okay, here we are. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. As you and I are hanging out on this lovely Whip About Wednesday.
Such a sucker.
So, this right here, this is Saints of Valerie. Song's titled Nowhere to Land. Song's immediately available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Yeah, I would tell you, go ahead and give it a little streamer-eamer action. Saints of Valerie have been on the show before. We love their music. You know how it is. We keep it real. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse. So there you go. Okay. So let's get into the groove and the move of the things that are going on. No doubt about that. So let's talk about the most important thing that I will tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. So here you go. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. Things can get better. Find out more information. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see all kinds of information for you related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Seriously, once you get there, it can change everything for you. Because there's so much information related on that website. I'm going to tell you, you can go from there, you can go to self-care, where it will tell you every effort that you can make in regards of things that you can do to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And there's people that can guide you, really little video clips on there, that can guide you on what you need to do. It's a really good resource. So there you go. TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So let's go ahead and start talking about some other things that are going on. Let's talk about this real quick. This event's going on here in Orlando next month. We're going to be hanging out here at a good old movie theater, talking to Todd Conklin, Nick Weatherly, and I'll be there as well. We'll be talking about the world of behavior-based safety with Nick Weatherly. We'll be talking with Todd Conklin about human and organizational performance. And I will be there talking about Signal. We'll also watch a documentary while we're there. Just a little side note there. So it'll be a good time. We're doing this in a different style presentation just for the sake of trying to get this out. I know a lot of people got kind of bored of going to all these hotel conferences. You go into a hotel conference boardroom or a little room there, hang out for some time. We wanted to try something entirely different. This is why the play in the movie. And then having some people there speaking live to you. So if this is something that you find interesting, you can find out more information by going to safetyfm.io. Or you can go to the website, safetyfm.com. And once you get there, boom, all kinds of information for you. So all you have to do is safetyfm.io, or, like I said, go to safetyfm.com for more information. It's going to be an interesting time hanging out on July the 13th here in good old Orlando. The reason that we're doing it on that Monday is because we want you to have time to hang out in Orlando if you so desire to do so. So don't worry about anything else when it comes to do that, because, hey, I know when people make it to Orlando, they're all interested in going to the theme parks and things along those lines. So this gives you the availability or opportunity to do so. So, yeah, Monday, July the 13th, safetyfm.io for more information. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, no doubt about that. Okay, with that being said, I do have John Smalls waiting in the wing, wanting to talk to you about the Motivation Minute. So if you're good to do this, I'm good to do it. Here's John Small.
The Motivation Minute. Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Rob. Abby Wambach said, "I've never scored a goal in my life without getting a pass from someone else." Very true. When the very best football quarterback makes a pass to somebody, they've got to catch it. When the best baseball player throws a ball, somebody else has to catch it. Whether you're on the giving side or the receiving side, there are often other people involved in the equation. I was honored to have been a part of an amazing radio team back in 2005. When I started, the company had not hit a goal in a long time. I made some adjustments to the very same team of people. We began hitting, then exceeding our goals. Now, it wasn't me, but I was part of the team that did this. We all worked together, sometimes better than other times. This gave me the confidence to start my own company and do my own thing, and it's been amazing. Teamwork is awesome. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Nigerian military forces freed 360 people held captive by Boko Haram militants in the remote Mandara Mountains of northeastern Nigeria on Sunday.
Troops swept a Boko Haram stronghold in Borno State, freeing men, women, and children abducted from multiple communities. Tragically, 2 infants did not survive, perishing from exhaustion before rescuers could bring them to safety. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Iran shot down a U.S. Army Apache helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz on Monday night, and President Trump is now vowing a military response.
Both crew members were rescued by a Navy drone boat after about 2 hours in the water. Early indications suggest an Iranian drone brought the aircraft down, though an official investigation is underway. Chris Anderson reporting.
Israeli forces struck the ancient Lebanese port city of Tyre on Tuesday, killing at least 8 people after ordering all residents to evacuate.
The strike damaged a nearby Red Cross Center and a UNESCO World Heritage Site inside the ancient city. Lebanon's health ministry says more than 3,600 people have been killed there since March. Benjamin Wright reporting.
A federal judge in Massachusetts threw out President Trump's $100,000 fee on H-1B skilled worker visas, ruling the charge was an unconstitutional tax.
Judge Leo Sorokin ruled that only Congress can impose such a tax, siding with a coalition of 20 states that filed the lawsuit. The Trump administration quickly announced its plans to appeal. Kyle Norris reporting.
President Trump formally nominated his former personal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, to serve permanently as the nation's top law enforcement officer.
Blanche has served as acting attorney general since April after Pam Bondi was fired. His Senate confirmation is expected to be contentious, with several Republicans already raising concerns about his conduct in the role. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived in the North Korean capital of Pyongyang for his first visit in nearly 7 years.
The rare 2-day state visit marks the 65th anniversary of the Mutual Defense Alliance between the two nations. Experts say Beijing is seeking to pull North Korea away from its deepening military relationship with Russia. Gary Beck reporting.
President Trump drew a thunderous chorus of boos from the crowd at Madison Square Garden, attending Game 3 of the NBA Finals on Monday night.
Trump attended as a guest of Knicks owner James Dolan, though his presence caused major security delays outside the arena. The Knicks ultimately lost to the San Antonio Spurs, ending a 13-game playoff winning streak. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
It's my kind of music.
I get the best mix of my favorite music.
all on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
Okay, so here you go. A lot of stuff still going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in the 1700s. 1760, New York passes the first effective law regulating practice of medicine. In 1848, the first telegraph link between New York City and Chicago occurs. In 1898, the U.S. Marines land in Cuba during a Spanish-American War. In 1921, Babe Ruth becomes the all-time home run champ with 120. In 1966, Beatles record Rain, the first to use reverse tapes. In 1977, Apple Computer ships its first Apple II computer. And also in 1977, James Earl Ray, Martin Luther King's killer, escapes from prison. That happened back all on this date, depending on the year that I was referencing. So let's continue talking real quick about some celebrity birthdays that are going on today. Dan Fonts turned 75. Maxi Priest, he's a reggae singer just in case, turned 65. Gina Gesson turned 64. Jean Triplehorn turned 63. Kate Flattery turned 62. Elizabeth Hurley turned 61. Doug McKagan turned 60. So there you go. Faith Evans, 53. Hughes Dancy, 51. DJ Quails turns 48. Lily Sabrisky turns 44. And Kate Upton turns 34 today. So there you go. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know just for the sake and purpose of knowing them. So there you go. President Trump's name has been removed from both buildings and the website of John F. Kennedy Center of Performing Arts after a judge ordered that the removal of his name from the facility last month. The center also updated the website, changing the logo from the Trump Kennedy Center back to simply the Kennedy Center. Game 4 of the NBA Finals airs tonight at 8:30 p.m. on ABC. The Knicks lead the series 2-1, so there you go. Walmart is expanding its delivery business by adding fresh food from Subway restaurants located inside of its stores. Starting this summer, customers will be able to order or made to order Subway sandwiches for about 1,400 Walmart locations and have them delivered in as little as 30 minutes through the Walmart existing express delivery service. Orders can be placed through Walmart app or website, allowing customers to customize sandwiches and combine them with their groceries or other Walmart purchases in a single delivery. Walmart says the sandwich prices will match in-store pricing and no additional hidden prices. So there you go. Let me talk about this one real quick. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $238 million. And here's last night's winning Mega Million numbers. Jackpot was $392 million. 9, 30, 36, 38, 40. Mega Ball was 3. Let me tell you this one real quick, so make sure you're seated. The Social Security Administration has issued a new warning that the trust fund used to pay retirement benefits is now projected to be depleted in late 2032, about 3 months sooner than the forecast in its last report. Social Security is primarily funded by payroll taxes paid by workers and employees. When benefits payments exceed the payments coming in, the program relies on the trust fund reserves to cover the gap. According to the annual trustees report released yesterday, those reserves are being drained faster than expected. And the system continues paying out more benefits than it collects. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. So there you go. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me. If you don't, you can stay right here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with some words of wisdom for today, success is often the results of showing up when others quit. And if you need some words of advice for today, after you're giving a stovetop a thorough cleaning, apply a thin layer of car wax and then buff it off clean with a clean towel. Now wiping off future spills in blobs of food will be painless. Plus, your stove will look extremely shiny. Anyways, outside of that, that's it. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.